So many of you have been asking me how you should feed your baby to achieve a fast and healthy weight gain in them. See, mama, if you do not like how your baby looks, it's okay to change that. But ensure you're doing it for the right reasons. There is another category of you who run to me with, oh, mom, nutritionist, I have done everything under the sun to help my baby add even if it's a tiny weight. But it's not just working. You are only doing everything under the sun that you know how to do. Trust me, if you know better, you will do better. And that's why I'm here today to help you. Thank me later. In the journey of feeding your baby, there are two things you should focus on. The first is what you should feed your baby. The second is how you should feed your baby. Most of you are more concerned about how you should feed your baby instead of being more concerned about what you should feed your baby, because that's the most important thing. Don't look at me that way. In today's video, I am handling how you should feed your baby because that's the questions you are always asking me. So let's dive right in. The singular most effective method I have used to achieve a healthy weight gain in my children and also helped parents like you achieve a healthy weight gain in their own children is cluster feeding. You should try the cluster feeding method for your child. I am very confident it will work for your baby. Cluster feeding is a method of feeding your baby smaller meals at regular intervals. Cluster feeding does not mean stuffing your baby's tiny stomach with food, because I know how you mothers do love chubby, heavy. That's not what cluster feeding means. Yes, I remember some of you that run to me with, oh, mom, nutritionist, next week is my baby's first birthday. I want him to appear very chubby in his first photos. This next week here, and you want him to appear very chubby in his photos. He's not even chubby at all now. That's magic, and I don't do magic. And then comes the part of, I will pay you anything if you can achieve this for me. Trust me, nothing gladdens my heart like when a client says, I will pay you anything, but I will still dodge you. It's not me you put in that kind of high jump. No, it's not me at all. Then when I try to advise you, you zoom off to go and do it by yourself. DIY, do it yourself, head gain for my child. And then you start, every time you sit down to feed your child, you start packing food inside your child's stomach because you want your child to add weight. Quick action. May quick action not kill us in Nigeria. And then when you finish feeding this child, the child throws up everything. They vomit every single thing you have fed them. If your child vomits every time you finish feeding your child, chances are that you are overfeeding that child. It's not your mother-in-law that is doing you. It is not your co-wives in the village that is doing you. It is you that is doing yourself. And you know one thing, when you feed this child this way several times and they vomit several times, become pale, they lose a lot of nutrients. And guess what happens? They lose more weight. And then you say, oh, I've done everything under the sun to feed my child to get him to add weight and he's not adding weight. You see? It's you that is doing your child. That's when you start running helter-skelter. And guess who you run back to? Me. And that's when I'm going to charge you anything to correct this mistake. This is something you would have done right from the first time. Just adopt the cluster feeding practice. Cluster feeding practice entails that you stop feeding your child huge meals few times a day and start feeding them smaller meals at regular times, little quantities of meal several times a day. For example, you can decide to be feeding your child 3 square meals a day, 2 snack times. That's 5. That's 5 meal times for your child. You can then decide to put 3 hours intervals in between them. If you even want to achieve the weight gain faster, you can introduce midnight snacking for your child. This midnight snacking can help your child to stay full for a longer period of time, because the length of time between when your baby eats dinner then goes to bed and wake up the next day to have their breakfast is usually so long that prolonged fasting can set in. Prolonged fasting is staying without eating anything for an extended period of time, say like 8 or more hours. And when your baby goes through prolonged fasting, their body begins to use stored energy to maintain normal metabolic functions. The baby's body will first of all start using glycogen stored in the liver and in the muscles to do this action, and then when it finishes, it turns to the fat stores to produce energy. This could be the singular reason why no matter how you feed your baby in the daytime, probably you're feeding your baby 5 times already in the daytime, but then you see that you're not getting results. Maybe the baby goes through prolonged fasting in the dead of the night, from 8 p.m. at night to the next morning. That's a lot of time. So from 8 p.m. at night till the next morning is a very long time for a baby to stay hungry. So feeding your baby midnight snacks can help them have enough energy stores to last them through the night till the next morning. And then another thing you should pay attention to is this. When you wake up in the morning, feed your baby breakfast as early as possible. Say 7 a.m. It's not even breakfast again because you've not allowed them to fast the fast. If you want to achieve a healthy weight gain in your child, create a feeding routine and stick to it. Take out your paper, draft it out, be consistent with it. For example, when I was helping my 8-month-old to gain weight, I used cluster feeding. What I was doing was this. At 7 a.m., I feed her breakfast. 10 a.m., I give her morning snack. That's 3 hours in between. When I talk about snack, I am not talking about biscuito. When I talk about snack, I'm not talking about meat pie, cake, cupcake, Coke, Fanta. That's not the snack I'm talking about. So we will talk about all these ones, what to feed. We'll talk about them in another video. This video is how you should feed first. So at 10 a.m., I feed her morning snack. At 1 p.m., that's another 3 hours, I give her lunch. Then at 4 p.m., I feed her evening snack. Then by 7 p.m., she eats her dinner. That's 5 times already. 3 times meal, 2 times snack. And then she, relaxes before 8 p.m. and then she goes to bed. Once it's 12 midnight, because I already understand my baby's hunger cues, you should focus on trying to understand your own baby's hunger cues. For my baby, once she's about to get hungry, she starts turning around on the bed and making cry sounds. That's just the period before she wails and starts crying. So I've already understood this. So when I notice she's already turning around, which usually happens around 12 midnight, I pick her up. I don't even wake her up. I make a bottle of her formula. I just touch it at the tip of her lips. She opens her mouth and grabs it, and then she sucks it all through and empties it. Then I put her back to sleep and I prop up her head with a pillow to ensure that she doesn't choke on the formula. And then I leave her again. Once it's 4 a.m., I do exactly the same thing. For those of you who always complain that your baby, my baby doesn't accept formula. Oh, she wouldn't do formula. I've tried all formulas. This could be your own help too. If your baby does not accept formula, you could use midnight to do it. When they're sleeping, they eat anything. Just make sure you make the formula. And also, remember that you are also breastfeeding. For an 8-month child, you are also still breastfeeding. So, for my baby that time, she was still breastfeeding. I do not restrict her breastfeeding. She breastfeeds on demand. Her mouth is always sucking. That one is for sure. Me giving her the formula is an extra. I was not using it to replace breastfeeding. And then the next morning by 7 a.m., I am back to breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. I continue to do this until I see my desired result. And even when I see my desired result, I still continue to maintain that weight for some time until I think it's no longer necessary. That's when I usually stop. If you need a proven feeding routine that works, like the one I use for my daughter, if you want it, go to the comment section and type I need. If I get up to 100 comments, I'm going to organize an Instagram live session where I will sit with everyone live and we're going to create a routine. I will take specific questions, I will answer more. And then if you have any topic at all that is bothering you about feeding your baby, any issues at all you have with feeding your baby, anything at all, comment also there. When you comment for this particular one, ask it as a question. And when you ask the question, include hashtag ask the momtritionist as one word. Hashtag ask the momtritionist. Only questions that have hashtag ask the momtritionist will be taken. When I take those questions, I will create a video just for you, especially for you. I love you that much. Yes, I do. I love you that much. I will create a video especially for you to tackle whatever it is. See, your days of having issues with feeding your baby are over because I'm here to help. How you feed your baby is my business. I'm here to help you. Thank you for watching. Like this video, comment, share with your friends. Go to my YouTube channel, Ask the Momtritionist. Watch and also comment.